I'm out here, I'm in the Tyne Valley, and what I'm actually going to do is going to walk the whole length of the Tyne Valley, or the River Tyne, from source to its mouth. So the Tyne Valley actually flows from a place called Anfield Plain, which is not far from Stanley, all the way to its connection with the River Tyne near Dunstan, just to the west of Newcastle city centre. And now the river enters a little underground section. Now, I'd love to know the story behind that sign. And through the trees, the first suburban house and estate on the banks of the river. And this huge tree has just succumbed to the elements. Now, this must be the first of many shopping trolleys in this river, been sent away from the river through this house and estate. I've just noticed Stanley Grammar School. Seems to be quite an impressive old building. And now we're under the visual throng of the power line, cutting through the landscape. Another mark of the change in landscape is the telecom mast. And now I'm sauntering through the trees. Another little bridge over what I think must be the River Tyne. One of the more interesting things about the Tyne Valley is that it's quite a large valley as it flows past Gateshead. And it's quite considerable for its size, even though itself is actually quite a small river. Even at the mouth, it's not that large of a river. And really the reason for this, and the source on this I couldn't really get down, so take this with a pinch of salt, is that the River Wear, before the last ice age, River Wear used to not flow through Sunderland and towards the sea. The river actually flowed through the Tyne Valley and actually connect in with the River Tyne, where the River Tees currently meets us. Now here on the map, the River Tyne is referred to as the Hoffwell Burn. What a day for a walk this is. It's going to get up to 18 today. These barriers mark the entrance into Tanfield railway station of the Tanfield Railway. So here's the Tanfield Railway that now operates as the Heritage Line. Here's even more facts that I can tell you. So this iron girder bridge is the only remnant of the colliery, coke oven, brickworks and railways of East Tanfield. And the River Tyne is still a peaceful stream at this point, flowing through. Even though at one point in time this would have been heavily industrial, the industry has slowly moved further and further towards the river. And now I can hear somewhere in the forest over here, is the Tanfield Railway. So this runs every Sunday with old steam trains on the line. Seems to be a little locomotive there, little locomotive goes past. The Tanfield Railway was one of the most important, really, transport routes in this whole valley, and it's one of the key parts of what really made the Tyne Valley. So throughout the Industrial Revolution, there were a number of wagonways that existed along here, and the Tanfield Railway is one of those. Its whole purpose was to transport coal from the inland collieries of County Durham to the River Tyne, where then it was obviously shipped out to the southeast of England. And we continue meandering through the trees. The River Tyne on the map here is referred to as the Causey Burn, and this is the site of the Causey Arch, the oldest surviving single-span railway bridge, I believe, in the world. 1725, to serve the early wagonway. It was designed by a guy called Ralph Wood. The story is that he was so worried about this bridge collapsing that he committed suicide later over the stress of it all. a little bridge over or under the Tanfield Railway. Oh, this bit of the footpath goes through someone's garden. And there's a little pub in the landscape, the Causey Arch. I'm really, for one of the first times on this walk now, I'm quite far away from the river. Obviously I've strayed away from it in small parts, but now I'm really in a different landscape, more of fields and spinneys rather than the valley of the team. And there's a little settlement on the hill in the distance of what looks like 30s or 40s housing, maybe some modern stuff mixed in. That is Stanley, and where I got the bus to originally. So this whole valley that lays out before us is just what I've winded through. I've taken so long just to get here. Now we've come across the Black Horse. Now we're an old country lane, stone walls either side. We're now rejoined with a section of river that's just to the right of me, and this on the map is referred to as the Beamish burn. Now, I'm not sure if these are actually, does the Causey burn connecting with the Beamish burn at a further point here, if they already joined, I'm not sure of. Now there's a ruin of some little old outbuilding maybe. Farmish is in Beamish. It's one of those wires up. And there's a double-decker tram just coming around this corner now. So for this time being, we're continuing along these country fields, not even suburbia. This is real farmland, edgelands of anything. This is beyond the edgelands into the countryside. This isn't the footpath I thought it was that goes actually through Beamish, because there are some. This one that runs at the back of it. And Beamish Museum's an interesting place. It's a living museum of the north, so it has a load of buildings, vehicles, etc., all telling the history of the north. It's a really interesting place to visit, and it was the UK's first open-air museum. And at the back of it flows the Beamish Burn, which I have confirmed is the Team River, and here it is. Now this isn't the manor house I was on about, but this is another little farm. And on the map this says it was a flint mill. So I guess all these cogs and machinery really demonstrates this valley's always had a connection with the river that flows through it. And there's another abandoned building in the valley. On the map that just says High Forge. I think nothing epitomises the British countryside more than barbed wire. These fences mark the boundaries of all the lands. And now it looks like a little natural bridge over the River Team. And for the first time in a while, the landscape's opened up with a view down the valley. Come across a small little farm. In that last shot you can see in the distance the towers that rise above the Angel of the North. It means we're getting into the lowest section of the Team Valley, where the mighty A1 roars through, as well as the East Coast Main Line and the throngs of industry that still remain in the valley are all centred in this one industrial estate, which we'll explore as we go through. And nestled in between all of this city confusion, urban landscapes, is the River Tyne that really dictates this whole layout of this space. So up ahead now is the caravan site, and what is actually on the site of is the old Beamish main colliery. This had a school, it had houses, and this all has been demolished and just replaced with this caravan site. It really shows this changing valley. The history before it is mostly lost. And now we're into the landscapes of the edgelands. The sheds, barbed wire and telephone poles and electricity. And next to all this, our river keeps on flowing. And out of the trees, we're greeted to the site that tells you you're home to the weary traveller. And then in the distance, the second symbol of home, St James's Park, the cathedral on the hill, with Hadrian's Tower marking the Hadrian's Wall. I took a wrong turn back there, and as you can probably hear, it's quite a busy road now as we're approaching Tyne Valley. It seems there's this very narrow lane that a lot of people are cutting down, and there was no footpaths either side, so that was a bit sketchy. But I'm back. I think I'm in some form of nature reserve now. But interestingly, I went past the Birtley treatment works, which is the reason this river was so polluted for so long, was that sewage was basically getting discharged from this treatment works into the River Tyne. So its lower course is often its most polluted. As you've seen, its upper course is more of a stream than a river. But this sewage plant was really degrading the water quality, and you'll see the real change in the character of the river as you get closer towards the confluence with the Tyne. And here's the irony: Northumbria Water investing to reduce pollution that them themselves are causing. And there is Lamesley Church, which dates back to the 1700s, and the actual site has been in use as a church or a chapel since medieval times. And there's the extra work going on to the A1 to make it grow in size. Now that roundabout I just passed is known as Coal House Roundabout, as on the site of this Sainsbury's National Coal Board headquarters. Tyne Valley is still the UK's first planned industrial estate. So in the 1930s, the government spent about £2 million to create this industrial estate that's still here now and employs 20,000 people. Now we're entering Tyne Valley. The vernacular of this place is slow-lying industrial sheds with other big retail sheds. And this is the land of the trader's van, or the suburban SUV. This valley, you really get the sense of scale. So before all this was the 80s style industrial estate it is now, and office blocks and industrial sheds. This is obviously the Tyne Valley, and there's one patch of woods that actually remains that you can see in the 1800s plans and still now, and that is to the right of me now. And here's one of the most signature buildings on the Kingsway, and that is this 1930 office block, originally built as a headquarters in the Tyne Valley, occupied by a number of government offices and undergoing a refurb. This is actually featured in the King's Speech, with a replica being opened by Colin Firth. And the architecture of this place is very 80s. Just to the side of this road It's the River Thames still in this little ditch, and the height of Tyne Valley is normally 1 or 2 stories, and the real landmark is this Premier Inn with its austere facade. And that is shopping trolley number 2. And this is the railway arch that connects Newcastle to Dunstan. And now this is a peculiar part of the Edgelands, as to the left of me is the A1 and the Dunstan Railway, but as well as the River Thames flowing to the right of me. I'm in the city, but it's this disjointed part of the city where nothing really is connected. And that is 2 more shopping trolleys. And to the right of me now is the site of the Gateshead Garden Festival, which is a scheme of urban regeneration in the 1990s. And the site to the right introduced, these were held across the country, and it had sort of attractions to bring people to the derelict area that was formerly industrial. And another shopping trolley. So just ahead of me is now the point where the River Thames meets the River Tyne and then flows out as one towards the sea.